Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be today's topic. It is going to be for the 8th of March. And as always, you guys can enter to win a free read with me by writing the word compassion in the comment section, being a subscriber to the channel, and giving this video a thumbs up. Those 3 things do get you entered to win. And then I choose 1 subscriber each week to get a free read. All right, this is awesome. We start out with the moon card. And obviously I put up this backdrop because the full moon in Virgo is happening between the 6th and the 7th. Well, technically the peak of it is on, I think it's like 7:40 a.m. on the 7th. So I'm recording this on the 6th, by the way, but I always put these out a little in advance. So technically, we're still, sitting right there with that full moon energy. And granted, this is not a full moon that we see, but I just feel like this is a very appropriate way to begin. This card represents a bit of a lonely melancholy. It's like this is like the idea that the man on the moon is lonely, or in this case, I actually attribute it more to like a silver screen vixen, like even a femme fatale, or a character who could be kind of a lonely beauty, someone who wishes that they could be one of the stars without ever realizing, but you're the moon. There's only one of you. Like everybody knows. This is like an example of this would be like Marilyn Monroe, right? The whole world knows Marilyn Monroe, but could there also still, for that particular individual, have been a lot of like loneliness and things like that? Yes. So sometimes, it's like someone who feels kind of isolated, even though they may be famous, they may be a household name, they may be somebody who is so funny because they don't see themselves as amazing, but the whole rest of their friend group or everybody else does. And yet no one maybe may approach this character. So they could be a little bit like, in their mind, they go, wow, I just wish I could be one of the stars in the night sky. And it's like, no, baby, you don't want to be a star. You're the moon. You're more noticed and more noticeable than even the stars. And there's only one moon. So embrace your mooniness, Um, we may be talking about a divine feminine just because that is the moon is associated with divine feminine energy. Okay, so why the fox? Oh, somebody's watching the moon. Now, this is a Lenormand deck, so only read it in the upright. That this fox is looking back over their shoulder. The fox in this deck does represent sly. Did this person run away from the moon, leaving the moon lonely? And they are, well, things seem to be over with that fox. They know it. Maybe they ran away before the moon had a chance to banish them and say, get gone with you. Because the scythe cuts things off. We say something is over. It appears that for whatever reason, the labyrinth. Oh, what a tangled web we weave, right? Is that Shakespeare? There was some kind of round and round, and I feel like this person came in and out of the moon's life. I feel like this fox came in and out of the moon's life. They had other, I feel like this is somebody who had other things going on. They weren't really in the moon's bracket, is the simplest way to say it. The labyrinth is like a great metaphor for our mind and also for our life's journey. And the labyrinth, if we ever walk through a labyrinth, it winds back and forth, and it's all intentional to give us more time to figure things out. So if we're just walking on a labyrinth, it's to like ask a question, and then by the time we wind all the way through it, maybe we've allowed our mind a chance to kind of like uh follow a convoluted trail, but then actually realize that, wow, I did come to the conclusion because point A did lead to point B. I allowed myself to go on this winding thought process to get there. But now if someone is living their life as a labyrinth, it's as if they go back and forth, and they're headed to something better, like an evolved way of living, but they may grow and then regress and grow and regress, and they are always still moving toward something positive here, but it doesn't mean that they don't have to kind of like have a switchback trail that takes them back, and then they've got to deal with something again that crosses their path again. So I almost feel like somebody had unfinished business with maybe more than one person in their life, since we do have, you know, 3 people trapped in the labyrinth and one person who's already made it to the middle. I'm going to say the moon probably had already made it to the middle, whoever our moon character is. That could be our divine feminine. Someone that they dealt with, that fox character, that fox ran away from the moon before the moon could maybe find out and then cut them out permanently. They wanted to buy themselves time to keep dealing with other things. So they disappeared on the moon. I think somebody ghosted. That's what I think. I think the fox ghosted. But the fox looks back like, what's the moon doing? Let's get a clarifier for each of these out of this deck, which I rarely do. So to clarify the moon, we've actually got a very upset serpent. And this serpent, if you notice, is actually, it's a queen card. So unbeknownst to the moon, somebody doesn't even like them. Like there could be a jealous individual. Perhaps that's one of the things with the fox. Didn't want to let the moon know. Is like maybe the fox tried to interact with the moon and they shouldn't have done that because they had somebody else. And now that somebody else, instead of being mad at the fox, they're mad at the moon person. Why are you getting mad at the moon person? The moon person is totally oblivious to all this going on. So that doesn't make a lick of sense. Let's get a clarifier under the fox. Tell me about that. The fox feels like they have a big cross to bear. So as much as they weren't on the up and up, they definitely, this is weighing very heavily on them. Very heavily on them. And it's, oh man, the fox might have really sunk themselves. They may have made themselves into someone that nobody would respect if everybody knew the way they had behaved. And that may be why it's such a huge, heavy burden to carry right now, because they didn't do right by the moon. Then they also got somebody else mad at the moon, and the moon is like totally innocent. So it's like, oh my gosh, I really did them wrong. They feel bad. Let's see, what's the Scythe about? The dice. So this was risky. I don't know why this fox took some kind of a risk, but they obviously shouldn't have. Anytime, look, if we want to create revenue in our lives, the best way to do that is to actually have a plan where we save money, we invest wisely. It's not to go out and say, okay, maybe I can make a ton of money if I just roll the dice. Oh no, I lost it. Okay, let me roll again. Like that's a lot of risk involved with absolutely no ability, no strategy that really says this could work out. So it was a fool's risk to take. And obviously the outcome here is not a good one, because now it's over. It's like they can't go talk to the moon again. Somebody else is mad at the moon. They feel bad about this. Things are now over. And they shouldn't have taken the risk that they took in the first place. Tell me about the Labyrinth. I right now this is feeling like this should just have been a storyline where compass. Should have been a story where everybody was trying their best to find their way through something. Maybe that's the point, though. The labyrinth is that growth, right? And I said sometimes we move forward and then we do that switchback trail, and all of a sudden it's like we're regressing again. There was a really important aspect of finding one's way through the labyrinth and finding one's true north. If our fox had wanted to be with someone, wanted to be with the moon, they absolutely should have made a plan and said, this and this and this is what I'm going to do because I want to be with this person. Instead, it appears that they tried to get what they wanted without going about it in the right way. And that backfired badly. And now they probably know that they lost face, or that they would have lost face if their actions had really fully been known to all parties involved. So I feel like, let's see if we can clarify this. First off, I want to know about the moon. The moon is over here with the 5 of Wands. And I don't like the fact that our moon is still thinking about stuff, still trying to like focus on it, churn over it. Queen of Cups. So our moon is an incredibly loving, vibrational energy, which is awesome, right? But they have all that love to give. They shouldn't be out here by themselves. And that's where the moon has to probably take control of things for themselves and say, okay, why don't I quit trying to solve a mystery of why did this fox disappear? What on earth has happened? I don't understand why somebody ghosted. They kind of maybe need to stop questioning that, is what I'm thinking. See, and there's the Star and the Magician. Yeah, it's really time for them to just manifest from that loving space that they're in. But they've kind of been thinking about that already. Remember when I said it's like they're wishing they could be among the stars? And I'm like, well, you're the moon, you're even better than a star. But that's actually where their thought process has been as well. It's like, I really think that I'm maybe done trying to figure it out. I want to give my love to something. I want my wishes to come true. I want to play among the stars. I'm ready to manifest something new for me. Okay, that I love seeing now. The fact that we got that Magician card and the star, this is amazing. So our moon character they're on the cusp, and maybe that's just it. Maybe with this full moon, our character is saying, I'm done trying to figure out a mystery. I really want something straightforward. I want something I can give my energy to. I want happiness, and I want to manifest and attract things to me that are going to fulfill me and give me that happiness. Because really, if you look at it, our moon has her back turned to the fox. It's the fox who's looking back at her. She ain't looking at them. It does start out with a little bit of melancholy or lonely, but she's already turned her back to this, which is really strong. And then what the fox hasn't turned around yet to notice is that they've already been cut off. So even though they're looking back to her, I think the fox has run out of time. And I think that I don't understand why this even had to happen, though. I'll be honest. We'll ask that in a minute. But let's first take a look at the fox, okay? Let's go with let's go with this deck. I'm having fun with this one lately. And plus, we want to get some truth, so we want to get to the bare bones. Tell me about the fox, because all we know about them is that they are carrying a heavy burden in regards to all of this. Tell me about the fox. King of Pentacles in the reverse. They didn't have 2 dimes to rub together. They didn't have a sense of stability. They might have thought, I want to move. I want to go be with the moon. I'm packing up, but they didn't do it. That could have also been, this could have been like a future faker. This fox said all kinds of stuff and they never followed through with any of it. You know, I'm going to move to be with you. I'm going to pack up and bring at least a few things and we're going to, you know, start this life together. No, the devil. And then something reeled them back in. You notice how we've got the puppet strings there. Oh, this is we've seen this story like this before. It just looks like the fox, I don't know why they say things that they can't follow through with. Maybe that is what the devil is for them. They spit stuff out and then they don't actually follow through. And it's like, oh man, I did it again, didn't I? Oh, 6 of Cups. Well, in this case, they were super drawn to the moon. They thought of the moon as their, why did they think of the moon as their soulmate? Because, you know, soulmates, should be giving to each other, right? We got the Fool and we've got the 3 of Pentacles. So they really did actually even maybe trick themselves into believing, I'm going to, this time I'm doing it. I met somebody who's amazing. I'm going to move. We keep seeing a suitcase, the trunk and then the suitcase. They really, I think, genuinely wanted to. I think that some of the things that they said were 100% true. They were seeing the moon as like their revival, their landline, the or lifeline, I should say. The person that would pull them up out of this grave and give them a new lease on life. So our fox hasn't had an easy run of things. They really did want this. They saw that person as their soulmate that they could have a totally different life with. But here's the thing, if they wanted to plant a flower garden with their soulmate while they still had these two other situations to tend to, they can't do that. They cannot do that. That's how everything went so horribly wrong. So why did they then run away? Let's ask that. What made them run away? I mean, obviously they didn't have anything to offer. They ran away because High Priestess, Nine of Swords, and the Nine of Wands. Oh, excuse me, Six of Wands. They wanted to disappear while the moon still thought highly of them. They were so stressed out about the moon is starting to pick up on some vibes. I know they are. They're super intuitive. Come on, they're the moon and they're the high priestess. And they were getting so stressed out and they wanted so badly not to lose face. They wanted the moon to continue to believe that they were a really great person. And they were under so much stress knowing that the reality of I guess their blockages and the fact that they didn't have anything to bring. I think that they viewed the moon as their salvation. Because with that King of Pentacles in the reverse, I don't think they had anything. Maybe they had no money at all. And they were like, but I could leave this situation behind. Maybe I could move in and be with the moon. I really do love the moon. And in this case, I do think that they really felt like the moon was their soulmate. But they did not want the moon to know just what their circumstances were, that they were maybe in kind of dire circumstances as far as like money goes. They were super stressed out about that. Page of Swords. They thought about writing a letter. They've been watching. They've been trying to figure out what to say. Four of Wands. And so I think the moon is very this is a Four of Wands, meaning the moon's life is really well put together. They may be a business owner, they've got everything going on for them, and it's almost like this fox has wanted to write them and say, here, I couldn't say it to your face, but I watch you and I see how successful you are. I see where you are in life. I'm none of those things. None of those things. And I didn't want you to know that. So I disappeared. All right, but wait. Because we're not going to just dismiss this whole aspect of that serpent. Tell me about the angry Serpent Queen over here. What's that all about? King of Pentacles upright, Seven of Wands upright. So they were a King of Pentacles to somebody else, probably to that Serpent Queen who is upset. And that is, so they didn't have anything to bring to the table and give to somebody else. Like, I hate stories like this because to me, I don't understand the purpose of this whole playing out, this whole drama playing out, because it's like, if somebody doesn't have the honor to be honest, to close a chapter with one person before they open a door with another, they're dooming it from the beginning. So I'm trying to figure out why we have this. Now, the Labyrinth is an important card because that is showing us with a visual that we still have people on journeys, and one person has already reached like a place of like knowing oneself really well. Like, that's probably why the moon is letting this whole thing go, because they're like, look, I know myself and I know that they're not showing up for me. And so obviously I'm not sure what happened with them, but I got to turn my attention to manifesting other things for myself instead of be lost in a labyrinth right along with them. They weren't grown up enough yet. They still had other things going on. This person could have had like maybe two children, an ex or a spouse, and a child. There could be two different people there. But tell me about that, the whole labyrinth and the compass, because the big thing is in life, we always have to make our way through. Oh, well, this is about somebody's journey to becoming an actual emperor. An emperor doesn't make the kinds of moves that that fox would make, right? The fox, there isn't a gentle way for me to say. The fox behaved in a dishonorable fashion, and no emperor is ever dishonorable. we can't call them an emperor if they are dishonorable. So that's why I'm saying this is about somebody's journey to figuring out what does honor look like. What would a person, even if they meet someone and they go, oh my gosh, this is my soulmate. Oh, but I'm going to lie to them and hide from them that I've got another situation that I'm beholden to. I am already a King of Pentacles elsewhere. So I have literally nothing to offer them. And instead I'm actually going to make that that queen angry at me because she's expecting me to be a King of Pentacles to her. So I'm going to run away from the person I claimed was my soulmate, not tell her anything because I don't want her to see me as I really am, which is a fox, somebody who wanted what I wanted, someone who behaves sly. None of those are traits of an emperor. And that may be what the big storyline is here, is how do we define what's the checklist for what an emperor would be? Anyone can become an emperor if they overcome their mistakes, their bad behavior, their tendency toward wanting what they want, even if they shouldn't have it. You know, nobody has to act like a fox. But if they have acted like a fox in the past and they choose to improve, can they be on that path to becoming an emperor? Absolutely. Like, we don't condemn people and say, oh, you did this wrong, therefore you could never, raise your vibration. I think that's what the storyline is getting at. I don't know. I'm trying to piece it together right now. And I always hope for the best for characters. There is a Judgment and there is a Seven of Pentacles. Now, I don't feel like this is a resurrection of the connection. I feel like this is Judgment Day on their own behavior. And this is taking a long time. That Labyrinth shows a long time of a journey. The Compass shows somebody needed to find their true north. I'm going to say that that's probably the Fox character who needed to find their way to become a true emperor. And that means they had to judge themselves for their own behavior also and say, what the heck was I doing? They've been carrying this huge burden. They've thought about sending a letter and explaining, but they still withheld because they still had not the courage to say, this is what I did. I acted like a fox and I'm sorry. I shouldn't have acted like a fox. I saw you and I felt like you were my soulmate and I shouldn't have, not told you the facts of what my situation were. I shouldn't have let you either fall for me or we don't even know what they did, right? We don't know if they tried to date this person or if they just tried to be in that person's world a little bit or gave, like flirtation signals. We know that it looked like they said at one point, like they were future faking. They might have made all kinds of like overtures like, wow, you're so amazing, I could see all this future with you, because to the point where they really were planning, like, I'm gonna have a new beginning with you. But they thought they could have a new beginning while still tending to other things. That doesn't, and that they didn't have to explain it. And when they realized she was picking up on it, they split because they wanted her to have a good opinion of them. But see, having a good opinion that isn't the real opinion is destined to fail. So this is like, oh man, this person made some epic mistakes, right? All right. Can I see why did this happen? What was the big lesson in all of this? Justice. So in this case, Libra energy there. And the Queen of Swords in the reverse. You know what? A couple of things. Number one, this person who wanted people to see them as awesome, their behavior wasn't awesome. And it was time that they got called out for that. So if they acted like a fox and they were slyly trying to get together with the moon, it's actually really good that Serpent Queen found out and probably told them off. She had a right to know. I feel bad for that Serpent Queen. She shouldn't have had to deal with somebody who she thought was a King of Pentacles to her, when all the while they're thinking that they'd like to get with the moon instead. That person's behavior needs some serious adjustment. They don't get to act like that and keep, playing with two different people's minds, is what this is saying. So that they already got their behavior has been judged by that Queen of Swords, who probably told them what she thought of them. And that's, first off, that is the justice for her. She deserved to know so that she cannot, tangle with them anymore. That queen of the serpents, who is also the queen of swords, had every right to go ahead and, say, wow, I deserve to be treated better than this. 6 of swords. So she moves on. 9 of swords. Judgment. Again, with the judgment. See, I feel like this is kind of a day of reckoning for a person who thought they could play 2 sides at the same time. And they learned you absolutely can't. What you've earned is the reputation that you've created, which is now that you've been discovered that you were trying to play 2 different sides, the moon person and the serpent queen. Neither one of them is going to want you at this point. This is a storyline that I swear we just had last night. Oh my gosh. Let me get one more on this. We have got the 3 of Cups. Yeah, it's like when this should be an Ace of Cups, but when you try to do a 3 of Cups situation, meaning too many people involved, you're not giving your ace to anybody. And so I just think that this is why it didn't work out. It's why we're moving on from this whole situation. And the judgment day has come. So that's the purpose of this, is not to be mean to anyone, but to finally say, you know what, Foxy, what you're really supposed to be doing is making yourself into an emperor. That's what the purpose of life is to improve. And if you choose to play little games to try to get what you want, and knowingly not be honest with other people, and you know that it's wrong because that's why you ran away, so that the moon would still have a good idea of you, because you don't want her to really know kind of the way you've behaved, then you know that that's wrong. It's not like you acted without, a sense of self-awareness. You have the sense of self-awareness, but you keep giving in to that temptation. You keep thinking you should be allowed to get away with this, and then you run scared because you still want people to think highly of you, but you know you didn't do things that anyone would be proud of you for. So your journey in this life is supposed to be becoming an emperor, and an emperor doesn't operate that way. No emperor runs from the things that they did. An emperor stands there and goes, heck yeah, I did that and I meant it too. I doubled down on it. I did what I did because that's who I am. I said it right to your face. I also put it in writing. That's who I am. I said I'm doing this. An emperor handles their business, right or wrong. They're going to do it with conviction, and they're going to do it for a motive that they can back up with something that they really believe in. That's the difference in this character. This character is running from stuff that they did because they knew it was wrong. That is how we know they're not an emperor yet. And yet their journey in this life is to become this. So are they going to get there? Well, they're facing Judgment Day. And that was the whole purpose of this. They needed to be held, I'm not going to say even accountable, but it's like naturally they are being held accountable because they've disrupted other people's lives. And so that's the thing that it's probably the best thing that could have happened for all parties involved, because who wants to deal with a fox? Nobody. Everybody wants to deal with an emperor, or at least a king, or at least a knight on their way to becoming, a king or an emperor. Nobody wants to deal with a fox, though. And so it's like this person, they got to, check themselves before they wreck themselves. That needed to be done. So this whole story was actually about the justice and the judgment call being made on somebody who the universe is like, I expect you to behave better. You don't do that. You behave better than that. Otherwise, you're going to keep losing out on people that could be amazing matches. So what happens with our moon? Because our moon was ready to look at a new direction. Knight of Swords, not too quickly. Our moon's not going anywhere too fast, but we saw them, turning their back on this and moving on. Oh, the moon is moving toward the sun. So here's the thing. The moon will end up with their divine counterpart, which will be the sun, which the moon is the divine feminine. The sun is the divine masculine. The moon is going to end up with the partner they're supposed to be with. It will not be the fox. Okay. Then what happens with the Queen of Swords? Because she kind of was instrumental in like helping to lay this down. Oh, look at that. She was in the reverse once, but she's in the upright now. So she She said, "Oh, I'm not dealing with this. This is not going to make me karmic." Was I frustrated? Was I upset? Sure. But then you know what? I'm putting up boundaries and moving on. So she is back to her own positive, healthy vibe. Like she is anybody like who gets upset about something, they can definitely feel she's got the Six of Swords sideways. So she's mostly moved on from the situation with the fox person. But there are still maybe some kind of remnants or something, but she's got boundaries up. I'm guessing it's probably she's had to put up boundaries so that they cannot approach her is what I'm thinking this is. All right. And then what about for the fox person whose this whole journey was about them needing to become an emperor? What happens with them? Temperance. Okay. Well, first off, they do find some kind of inner peace, which is terrific. Because I feel like this person was not very Four of Swords in the reverse. At some point, they also get into a place of genuinely healing, and then King of Cups in the upright. And then they get into a headspace where they can perhaps finally at least migrate from being a fox to being a king. A king also will know where their emotions are. I feel like this person needed to get emotionally balanced all along. I feel like that was a thing that they needed to do. Are they going to take any action toward either one of these characters that they disrupted energy flow from? Let's grab a fresh deck. My gosh, it's got so long. I thought it was going to be quick. What does that King of Cups do in regards to the Queen of Swords? If any action. Seven of Swords, man, they still just I'm having a hard time thinking that if they go ahead and continue to like run away from the Queen of Swords now instead of face her, they lie. No, what it is that they lie about the fact that they feel like they met their Two of Cups, which I'm guessing is probably the way they felt about that moon. So they don't tell her that part. I'm not really sure why. Let me get one more. So I'm just wondering, do they take any action toward those two to, kind of like set anything right? Sorry, I can't actually read that yet. We get the Four of Wands in the reverse. They don't actually ever want to tell her that they fell deeply in love with a person and that's why things didn't work out. What about with the moon? What do they do in regards to the moon? We have got the Page of Wands sideways. I'm sorry. I can see one person is watching this right now, which I don't really know how because this isn't public right now. But I'm not going to be putting this video out, I don't think. It's got me perplexed. Six of Pentacles. It's like they half want to come in and at least make nice with that person. They half want to come in and at least try to like explain something to the moon at some point, but they do want to like give, maybe try to be friends with this person. They don't know if passion could be restored. They still feel very drawn to that moon person, because this is the High Priestess. So it's like they feel like they need to still correct something, make something right. They still feel very drawn to the moon person. I mean, I would argue that they have a lot to correct. I don't know. Let's put it this way. In the grand scheme of life, will everyone make mistakes? Yes. Will everyone do something that they wish that they could fix? Yes. And do we have hopefully a good long life in order to get the bravery that is needed to step forward and fix the things that we need to fix? Hopefully, yes. And so I kind of think that that's what this is about. To set things right is going to take this character a bit of time. This is not a story of them reconciling with anyone, but it is a story where they would like to finally make amends and at least have conversation or offer something to the moon person. Now, they may still be wishing somehow that they could now that they are a King of Cups, wishing that maybe there would be an opportunity, but I think they know it's a long shot. They're not really thinking they could get passion with the moon person, but they are hoping that perhaps they could have something, some equal like conversation or friendship or something at least with that moon person, because they know that's going to be like a karmic like mark against them if they don't at some point try to explain how they felt about the moon person, because it looked like they did love that person like a lot, but they ended up doing everybody wrong. That's what this is. They did everybody wrong because they didn't have the courage to step up and be an emperor. And so I think that's maybe what the big moral of the story is. And I know it sounds like we're coming down so hard on that character, but remember, these are fictional. And so now we can step back and we can look at it from a different viewpoint and say, now wait, if the big like thesis of this whole story is, if we take action in life only partially, like we won't own our actions, we won't step up and say, this is what I want, this is what I feel, this is who I love. If we refuse to take full responsibility for our actions and whatever the consequences may be, because every action has consequences. If they were with the wrong person, and lots of people get with the wrong person, or it's a right person for a period of time, and then that cycle ends and they grow beyond that relationship. But if somebody knows that they want to be with someone else but cannot step up and say, this needs to end because we've ended a cycle here, and then also have the courage to say, and I am going to be with a different person because that is where my journey takes me now. If someone can't say that, it basically produces this mess that we saw. It was totally unnecessary, but when there's a lack of responsibility, that's what it yields, right? Everyone has to be responsible for their what they really want, their real thoughts, their real actions, and then own it and step up to the plate and say, this is my life, this is what I'm going to do. Anything short of that, and it becomes a lot of drama, a lot of hurt people, and a lot of wasted energy, is what I think the thesis of this was. So it's not to shame that person. It's more like, I guess it's like a little lesson, like, why is it good to be responsible for our own actions and be authentic in what we want? Well, because then we can avoid a lot of unnecessary drama. So that's, I don't know, maybe I will put this one out because ultimately that had a good message. But whew, that was a tiring one. All right. Thanks for being here. If you do enjoy my art and want to see more of it, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for choosing to visit and hang out with me. All right. Take care. Bye.